Did you know that over 17 billion pounds of household items are thrown away every year? In the months of September and October, MaxSold kept a whopping 1.5 million pounds of household items out of the landfill. And it's all thanks to our buyers who care about sustainability. Instead of putting it out on the side of the road, this large custom-made cabinet sold for just over $2,000 in Ontario. This reclining chair and ottoman sold for over $400 in New Jersey, an item that someone might not have considered selling as the leather was a little bit worn and faded. And as any MaxSold buyer knows, you can easily fix an item up and make it better than new. Frequent pieces that are seen in our auctions include patio furniture, like these patio recliners which sold for over $300. We also run into unusual things that would have certainly been tossed, like this antique dental chair in Colorado that sold for almost $600 as part of a MaxSold auction. People often ask, why do the items in MaxSold auctions have a minimum bid of $1? Why not set a higher minimum bid to get a guaranteed price on the items? The answer is that if we choose a higher minimum bid, then the item's not guaranteed to make a sale. Plus, we found that starting bids at $1 really gets the excitement and bidding competition going. Take these cars for example. Starting at just $1, this 2018 Ford Escape sold for $17,750 in a MaxSold auction in Ontario. In San Diego, California, this 2009 Ford Focus sedan sold for $4,000. Last but not least, this 2006 Jaguar sold in Ottawa, Ontario for $7,000. With minimum bids, these cars would have been parked for months and months without any buyers. We know this because sellers frequently give up on other ways to sell and come to us at MaxSold. With a $1 bid start, we drastically reduce items going unsold, plus it's a great way to generate the competition. Take this Kubota tractor, which sold for $4,200 on MaxSold, for example. It had 730 views and 85 bids. Teak and mid-century items are a continuing trend in MaxSold auctions. Take this teak shelving unit, for example, which sold for over $1,900. Or this teak chair with matching ottoman in the short-notice 4-day MaxSold auction, which sold for over $600. What's starting to trend on MaxSold now is early French-style furniture, like this French cabinet, which sold for over a whopping $4,000. And in that same auction in Richmond Hill, Ontario, a commode sold for over $1,300 and a credenza sold for over $1,800. To go on top of that credenza, you need a clock. Look no further than this antique French clock, which sold for over $1,600 on MaxSold. More often than not, the items in a MaxSold auction come with a story. Whether an item's been an important part of a family for many years, or it's a treasured item from your favorite sports team. Like the Stanley Cup Championship Pittsburgh Penguins team-signed hockey jersey, which sold for $1,260. MaxSold items come with stories and have a lot of real historical significance. Like these World War I horse artillery boots, which sold as part of an estate sale in Kingston, or the sterling silver Japanese trophy bowl presented for a Tokyo horse race in 1936. And check out this industrial gold medal popcorn machine, which sold in Kingston, Ontario, that provided moviegoers with popcorn for years at the local drive-in. Antiques and hard-to-find items are some of the most exciting things we get to see every day at MaxSold. Like this pocket watch that sold for over $500, or these inkwells which sold for over $600. In New York, this 1900s cash register which sold for almost $500, or this date statue which sold for over $1,200 in a MaxSold moving auction in Toronto. Speaking of things you don't see every day, this next item could be right out of Jurassic Park. This piece of amber with actual insects trapped inside sold in a MaxSold auction for $482. If you're really smart, maybe you can bring dinosaurs back from extinction. It's hard to imagine any one of these beautiful pieces ending up in a landfill. Luckily, you don't have to, because MaxSold is here to find them joyful new homes. What you put in your home and hang on your walls speaks your interests, and artwork is the perfect translator. Check out what pieces of art were trending in September and October. In Mississauga, a Norval Marisol acrylic on board sold for over $4,000. And in Oakville, this Franz Johnson oil on board sold for $2,853. We also saw this framed original watercolor landscape signed by Peter Hund in Morrison, Colorado for $1,060. Speaking of wall art, check out these antique maps and art that sold in McLean, Virginia as part of an estate sale MaxSold auction for $1,250. Did you know that rugs are called the art of the floor? Check out this area rug that sold for over $3,600 in Virginia. Other items that continue to trend are silver and collectible pieces. From a downsizing MaxSold auction in Wellesley, Massachusetts, this baseball, tobacco cards, and albums lot sold for $1,600. And this lot of hockey and baseball cards from a MaxSold auction in North York, Ontario sold for $710. We also saw a lot of vintage gold watches and coins sell for $1,345 in Surrey, British Columbia. As for silver, We helped to sell this Tibetan silver hand carved dragon incense burner in Cobourg, Ontario for over $500, and the sterling silver bird statue in Toronto for over $1,000. MaxSold sells all sorts of amazing things, like this tall teak root chair that sold in Manotick, Ontario for $320. With its unique design, it's definitely a conversation starter and a nice addition to any home. Speaking of conversation starters, this next item is a cool but unusual find in Picton, Ontario as part of a commercial liquidation MaxSold auction. It is a stained glass panel designed to resemble theoretical physicist Albert Einstein, and it sold for $310. So we've seen some fantastic items in our auctions, but MaxSold can help you get the value out of all of your everyday used items as well. Like this lot of cleaning supplies in California, which sold for $17. Or these yard tools in Texas, which sold for $55, or similar yard tools that sold in Florida for $46. That's it for the highlights. Before we wrap it up, I have a quick message to all the MaxSold bidders out there. We want to hear from you. If you've won something at a MaxSold auction that you've incorporated into your home, share it with us. Be sure to use the hashtag MaxSoldFinds and tag us. Thanks so much, and we'll see you next time.